Did we lose you?
I'm still here, but it's still cycling on going live.
Oh, it says I'm live.
Okay, there we go. I think we're live now. Okay, hi and welcome everyone. Please go ahead and comment where you're joining us from. I'm actually staying at an Airbnb at a local farm about 40 minutes away from my usual office, so you're just going to see my little audio avatar today.
And there's a little bit of feedback, at least I'm hearing it. So if you hear it too, we are aware. It just will not resolve itself. We tried.
And you're probably going to hear a couple roosters in the background as well that are guest stars today.
And perhaps a dog. All of the
So we got a
animals
full
may
house
be
over
joining
here.
us. Hi, Lily. Glad you can join us. Liza, I might be pronouncing that wrong. I apologize if I am. But welcome from Massachusetts. Who else is with us today to talk about space trivia? I don't know, Amelia, did you want to go through anything before we get started?
So, if you guys haven't had a chance to check it out, the magazine has been updated with some new information. So, there is now a free trial available in there for StoryQuest Academy and a couple other surprises in there. So, if you have already read the magazine, go ahead and check it out again because we have actually updated it. So, there's some additional freebies in there for you guys. I'm also going to go ahead and post a link to the free Build a Rocket craft from Heather. That looks like so much fun. So what you guys are going to do is, if you haven't already downloaded it and printed it out, you can complete your rocket build after the class. If you have already printed it out and have it all ready to go, feel free to put it together through the class, and then you can post a picture at the end to share with everyone your rocket.
Yes, I can't wait to see people's rockets. There are a lot of different pieces that you can put together. So, as Amelia said, feel free to work on it now and just listen and type every once in a while, or after class. That's fine. If you've already done it, maybe you downloaded it a week or two ago. Feel free to drop a picture as a result of that. Is there anything else you wanted to go through, Amelia, before we got started? Are we ready to roll?
I think we're ready to roll. I'm looking forward to doing this fun trivia.
Okay, great. Well, if you guys have been to any of my trivia classes before, this is not a test. This is merely fun. If you get it wrong, there's no punishment or anything. We are learning through true false questions. And there are no points or anything. I did points at some point, but we're not doing that anymore. We've moved beyond points. So these are just space related trivia, true false questions. And I am anxious to hear what you guys have to say. So, whenever I put up a statement, I would love for you guys in the chat to put whether you think it's true or false. And if you would like to explain why you think it's true or false, that would be awesome because I think that that's, to me anyway, that's the most fun part. Like, why do you think this? So, with that, actually the first question is going to be fun because we just talked about chickens. So, do we think the first animal born in space was a chicken? There have been animals born in space, by the way. So this is not like trick in that way. um, but do you think it was a chicken specifically? I don't know. Amelia, what do you think?
I'm going to say yes because I think that with chicks in particular and hatching, I've hatched chicks, and I think that that would be one that would be somewhat easier to do in space compared to some of the other animals.
Yes. All right. So we have a couple who are saying not true. Okay. So why do you think it's not true? I'm curious. Why are you saying false? Because surely there's a reason you don't think that there's a chicken that was born in space. More falses. All right. Well, I will give away the answer here. Oh, Lily, you are going to be surprised by this answer. So it wasn't a chicken, but it was a quail. So a bird species was born in space. It was the very first one, and it was in March 1990. So that was yeah, animal born in space. Now, the first creature, I guess we'll call it, to go to space was a fruit fly. I don't know if you guys knew that, but the first one born in space was a quail. How super random. I saw that and I was like, a quail. Okay. Like you run into quails all the time. A chicken would have made more sense. So, all right. Second question. Jupiter is the only planet that rains diamonds. It was cool, right? All right. Jupiter is the only planet that rains diamonds, which I always find to just be a cool fact to begin with. Why does it not rain diamonds everywhere? Although I guess they'd be worth less. So what do you think, Amelia? Neptune 2. Okay. Might have lost your audio, Amelia. All I'm hearing now is the buzzing.
Okay, are you able to hear me
There you
now?
go. You're back. Yes. All right. Uh, we're about split on this one. So let's see. Let's see what the answer. Yes and yes. Okay. So not Neptune, but Saturn. So Jupiter and Saturn actually rain diamonds. But when they fall to the planet, they actually melt because it's so like hot inside. So yeah, that's kind of upsetting that the diamonds are melting as part of the process. But yes, I know. Isn't that cool though that they can rain diamonds? Not only one, but two. I don't think we're going to Jupiter or Saturn anytime soon. So that is a bummer. We will not have any raining diamonds here. But if you were so inclined sometime in the future and we made it possible, that's where you should go. All right. So Saturn has the most moons. 83 is the actual number that Saturn has. So is that the most? What do we think? Saturn has the most moons at 83.
I think that is false. I've always heard that Jupiter has more moons, but maybe
Okay.
that's wrong. I'm interested to find out.
All right.
Looks like some people agree with me at the very least that it's not the one with the most moons.
Okay. Yep. There's about split again. All right. So
Yes.
this is interesting. So Saturn actually was the leader for a really long time. So if you guys heard Jupiter, you heard wrong. It
Ooh.
just in 2023, the year we are in, Jupiter took over Saturn. So it was a long time ago. I don't know. Long time ago in my opinion. So since 2019, Saturn has been the leader. And Jupiter just took back over because they discovered 12 moons this year. And now they have 92. So there you
That
go.
always surprises me when we're like, oh, we're going to explore deep space and go out there because we've already explored the solar system. Oh, hey, there's 12 moons that we didn't know about.
I know, right?
12?
12,
That seems
right?
that's a lot. There's so much
How
still
did
to
you miss
discover
these?
in our solar system, and that's the coolest thing.
Yes, exactly, exactly. And that's a heck of a lot of moons. I can't even imagine looking up and seeing 90, what did I say, 92 moons? That's
Yeah.
it'd be like the whole sky was just covered in moons. I think on like a good day, I see 92 stars. So,
Hmm.
all right, next question. Venus has the longest day of all of our planets. Venus has the longest day. What do we think? Because we keep getting splits, a lot of people are getting these right. So I'm super impressed. Let's see. We're going true. False. All right. Lots of trues, couple of falses. All right, so let's see the answer. This one is true. So it's kind of confusing because of how the orbits work for the planet. So not everybody is like a perfect circle. And even if it's a perfect circle, the sun isn't in the center. So it's more of like I'm like doing these hand motions below the camera that you can't see. Um, but it's more of an oval and it depends on like when they get close to the sun, how close they get. So there's like a lot of different moving pieces. So Venus takes 243 Earth days to spin around once, but only 225 days to go around the sun. That like blows my mind. I think my mind breaks when I hear that. So if you lived on Venus, a day would actually be longer than a year. Like I said, that kind of like breaks me math-wise. Um Yes, I know, right? Yes, I mean, Venus is uh, uh, they used to at least call it our sister planet. I don't know if that's still a thing. Yet again, Pluto used to be a planet, so I don't even know what the decision is there in terms of Venus. But that one was actually true. All right, next question. So, sunsets on Mars are often orange and red, just like Earth. Orange and red sunsets on Mars. What do we think? Pluto sadly is not a planet. It is a dwarf planet. So it's not considered like a full planet anymore. It really
So
messes
I,
up like the acronym I had going as a
oh,
kid.
totally. So sunsets on Mars, often orange and red. I'm gonna say I think this one's true.
Okay. All right. What does
And
everybody else
basically,
think? Yeah,
when it comes to Pluto, I have done some research because I was also upset. I'm like, excuse me, you can't just take a planet away.
right?
But
Oh,
basically, what they figured out because it's so far out from the sun and it is mostly made of water and ice, if
yeah.
it were to actually come within the orbit of the sun, it would basically act like a comet. So like
Yeah.
it's too small to have its own gravitational well, so it's
Yes.
not considered a planet because of that classification. So I'm like,
I I just
okay,
don't
but
like making
you
these
know,
new rules, you know?
yeah, exactly.
I understand like all of that and how they explained it, but I don't know. My acronym to memorize it no longer works. So it's this is kind of like the days on Venus versus the years on Venus. It just breaks me. All right. So people who think it's false, what colors do you think it are? It is. Sorry, that was not grammatically correct. What colors are you thinking? I'm just curious. What colors do you think it might be? If not orange and red. For the people who said false. Anybody want to share? No? Yellow. Oh, well, that's being super technical, I guess. Like a color in between orange and red. All right, blue and green. Okay, interesting. All right, so blue and green is generally the other option, and you are correct. Blue is what their sunsets look like, and so it's for a couple of different reasons. The air is thinner, has a different makeup, it scatters the sunlight in a different way. So blue is what their sunset looks like. Um, if our sunset and sunrise looked blue, I feel like I feel like that would be crazy because everything would just be it would be blue all the time. You would just notice the sun rising and setting just based on looking at the sun itself. So, yes, not orange and red, but blue on Mars. All right, the next one, the largest volcano on any of the planets, is on Mars, and it is as wide as Texas. What do we think? Largest volcano is on Mars, and it's as wide as Texas. Anybody have comments on that? Speaking of
I think
volcanoes,
that
while
this
people are
one,
thinking, oh yeah, go ahead.
I think this one might be false.
Okay, all right. What do you think? What do you think the real answer is?
I think that the largest volcano is on one of the other planets. I can't remember which one off the top of my head, but I think that this one is false because I think that there's a different large volcano on different planets.
Okay. All right. We got about half and half again. I don't think there's been like a real definitive answer from everybody on any of the questions so far. All right. So the largest volcano is on Mars, but
Oh,
it is
really?
not as big as Texas. It is actually much smaller. So I mean, it's not small. It could fit the state of Arizona, like I said, not small, or the country of France inside of it. And if you guys are familiar with Mount Everest, it is the height of two of them.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, so it's a decent sized volcano and it is on Mars. So, yes, it's twice the size of Everest. So, yep, it's pretty darn big. Um yeah, not something you want to run into. And what I was going to say about volcanoes is I don't know if anybody's heard this, but there is an active volcano on Hawaii that we actually talked about, I think, during our national parks video. And it has been erupting for like 5 days. So, yeah, that's something to keep an eye out for as well. All right. So, moving on from planets, I tried to group these by like general topics, and not all of them are going to have the same number of questions. But moving on to astronauts, do you think they cry bubbles? I guess I should have said when they're in space, not just in general, like because you're an astronaut, bubbles are like coming out of you. I definitely should have added in space because right now this look crazy. Oh man. Three of them. I looked
So,
this up according to my sources. It said two. So I don't know. We're talking still about the volcano thing. All right. Not air bubbles, but water bubbles. Just tons of question marks.
yes, I think this one is actually true that it's water bubbles.
Water bubbles. Okay. All right. So this one is true. Because there's no gravity to, like, let it fall down their face, it just, like, bubbles out of their eyes. I'm hoping I'm hoping they don't cry too often because honestly, it sounded terrifying when I read it, um, because it just, like, sticks to their eyes and doesn't leave, which, like I said, I mean, I have an issue, like an eye issue, which is why I wear glasses. I don't want anything near my eyes. So, if I was crying bubbles that weren't moving anywhere, it would just be frightening. So, but yes, very cool. Exactly, exactly. Something I wouldn't have thought about. Because why would you think about that until I started researching for this? So, all right. Next one. Most astronauts shrink 1 to 2 inches as a result of being in space. What do we think? Most astronauts shrink 1 to 2 inches as a result of being in space.
I think this one's also true.
Okay. Anybody else agree with Amelia and think that this is true? Yes. Okay. A no. So far, we're kind of like an even split again. False. No, probably not true. I don't know. All right. So it is false, but probably not for the reason that you are thinking. It is actually the opposite. So they actually will stretch up to 2 inches. So they might come back to Earth 2 inches taller.
How
So
bizarre.
right? So I actually taught about this particular fact in one of I used to teach a space exploration class, and we were like, okay, I need more details on this. So if like they go up repeatedly, obviously we don't do this anymore, but for the people who used to go up more than once, like are they basketball level, player level? Like, do they keep growing? Does it settle? I mean, I kind of got the impression that it settles eventually when you get back to Earth, but not 100% clear on that. So, yeah, so if your, family member or friend goes off to space, they'll probably come back taller, and not because they hit a growth spurt, but that's just how it works. So, I thought that that was fascinating. Yes,
That
really, I
is.
promise. All right, the youngest American astronaut to go into space was 26 years old. The youngest American astronaut. Because there have been a lot of different countries that have sent astronauts up to space. Although, fun fact, they are not all called astronauts. Depending on what country they are coming from, astronaut is pretty US specific. So, what do we think? Youngest astronaut from America was 26. All right, false. Nope. Okay, Neil Armstrong. True and false. Do you think it was older or younger? Like, why do we think that this is why do we think this is false? I'm curious. Like, do you think that the person was older or younger? Just question marks. No one will agree to tell me
I
why
think
they
that
think
they
it's
would
false.
be I think that they would be older because of the amount of rigorous training that they have to go through, but at the same time, athletic wise, 26 would actually be for being able to be like physically fit
Yeah.
would also be a good age. So it's like I could go either way on this one.
Yes. Okay. All right. So some people think younger than this. All right. So the youngest astronaut ever to go into space was 26. The youngest American astronaut was actually Sally Ride. So she was obviously a woman. She was a bit older though. She was 32, so 6 years older. So not the first. Yeah, not the youngest overall, but the youngest American, and she was also the first I'm sorry, American woman in space. So she hit like a bunch of boxes. So there you have it. Yeah. So yeah, I almost also covered like the oldest one, but the oldest one was 77, which feels like pushing it in terms of space. Like I
A
feel like
little.
I'll be retired from my job by then, let alone like shooting into space. It feels like I don't know, a bit old for that. All right. I get also just motion sickness in the car, so I'm not I'm not made out to be an astronaut sort of period. All right. So astronauts on the ISS, I didn't have enough space. The International Space Station is where we're going here. See the sun rise and set 6 times each day. You guys you were wrong. Yeah, I'm sorry. All right, astronauts on the International Space Station. That's a bit of a mouthful. See the sun rise and set 6 times each day. What do we think? Think that's true? Okay. Anybody else? Who else thinks this is
I think that that one's true. Just because
okay?
I did this app one time that it would give you a notification every time that the International Space Station was overhead. And I
Oh,
thought
that's
that,
cool.
oh, I would get a notification like once or twice. No, it was all the time
Yeah.
that was going
Yeah.
up overhead, and it goes very fast.
It does go
So
very
I think that
fast.
this sounds like something that would be true. Although it could be a trick question, it could be more.
All right. We have we have again kind of split, and then we have some maybes, which really splits things. All right, I will give you the answer. So, just like you said, this is a trick question. Is actually more. It travels
Okay, at least I guessed that.
4.76 miles per second. So it's going around 16 times every day. So I meant to bold that so you could see, but so yeah, they get to see the sunrise and set 16 times every single day. Um,
That's
I
crazy.
I mean, just seeing the sunrise and set once would be awesome. I can't even imagine it. It's probably like routine, like, yeah, it's setting and rising
Oh,
again.
there's the sun again.
There it is. There it is. But yeah, it just goes really, really fast, like you said. 4.76 miles per second is pretty darn fast. So 16 times your app would have been going off a lot. Pretty much,
Hmm.
like you said, pretty much all day. All right. So this is more of a general question. I'm like moving out of astronauts to like things in space. This one's just space in general. It does not have a smell. What do we think? It doesn't smell like anything. All right. Are we saying no, it doesn't have a smell, or no, the answer is false and it does have a smell? Need clarification there. And I can't tell who's who, by the way. The only one, the only person I can see is Lily. I don't know why. Everybody else is just Facebook user. So,
So, if you guys, when you guys first join the live video, it'll ask you if you want to let StreamYard see your name. And if you do, you will allow Heather to be able to see your name so she can give you a shout out.
yes. And so I can see if you've like followed up your answer with clarification, because otherwise, yeah, I don't know. All right, so no equals true. Got it. All right. So we got some falses, we got some trues. No again equals true. Okay. Just making sure. Just making sure. Because no could, in my opinion, also mean false. All right. Doesn't have a smell. I almost said spell. It definitely doesn't have that. All right. It does have a smell. So people have reported, astronauts have reported that it smells like cooked meat and grilled metal. So it basically smells like you've just grilled some burgers on in your backyard for like 4th of July or whatever. So, yeah, space has a smell. Who knew? I certainly did not. This came up in my research today and I'm like, I definitely have to include that space has a smell. I guess I figured since there are lots of things that space does not have, that smell would be among them. So, you got it right. Yes, indeed. Did you think it smelled like a barbecue in your backyard? Just out of curiosity. I don't know. Even if I knew it had a smell, I'm not sure that's what I would have guessed. All right. So, speaking of smells and things, do we think the moon also has a smell and that it is fireworks? The moon smell ridiculous. I know. Well, lots of things in life are ridiculous. That is what I in my 39 plus years on this planet, I have found that a lot of things in life are ridiculous for sure. True, I guess. All right, the
I think
moon
everybody's
has a
learning something new today.
right? Well, that is always my goal. We wouldn't be doing this to learn nothing. I don't think fireworks, don't think smells, so probably no. Okay. All right. So I think mostly people are going true on this one. All right. Got a couple of falses. Just gonna let it get in there. All right. Learning new things. Good. I'm so glad. All right. So this is true. The astronauts again are reporting that the dust smells like gunpowder, which is used in fireworks. So that is like the closest thing that they could relate it to. That when they're out venturing around, I guess more likely they've collected space dust and brought it back. Now that I'm thinking about it, but yeah, smells like fireworks. So when you go to the moon, expect you knew it. Expect to smell fireworks. So out in space, it's a barbecue, land on the moon, fireworks. totally wild, in my opinion. All right, so let's talk about a shuttle launch. Um, this is where you have your own space rockets slash shuttles that you can design. But do you think that a single launch of one, uses enough gas for hundreds of thousands of trips in your car, for like your tank to empty? And obviously, this depends on the size of the car that you're driving, but bear with me. This is not an exact calculation. But let's just assume that these cars are all the same and all of that. Maybe. Okay. False. All right. True. No, that's ridiculous. I think Lily might think all of my slides are ridiculous. That's the trend that I am picking up on here. All
But
right.
that's the thing,
Yes.
space is
False.
ridiculous.
It is. This is true. Yeah. A lot of things in space are completely wild. Aurora loves birds, so she was super excited earlier to learn that a quail was the first thing that was like the first animal born in space. All right. No, yes, I don't know. That is definitely the most non-committal response you could possibly give. All right, so it's a whole lot more than this. Um, Millions of car trips in a single space launch uses a ton of fuel, and that's yeah, single space launch, just like getting up there. So yeah, that is they use an awful lot of fuel. One of the other reasons that I feel so sad, like if the launch doesn't get very far, which has been the trend of late, I think. Because it's so sad that we've used up so much gas. I don't know. That's just me, maybe. You knew it. I wonder if it's the same person who's knowing it all the time. I'm just curious since I can't see your name. All right. So in space, if two pieces of metal were to touch each other, they would stick together without the use of anything except for the two pieces of metal. So nothing is like you're not gluing it or I don't know how welding. I don't know how you attach two pieces of metal. I'm not like skilled in that area. But in this situation, would you be able to touch them and they are like permanently together? I know, I know. Yeah, especially since we aren't even sending useful things up into space at the moment. Like the Artemis stuff will be interesting because we'll be going back to the moon with actual people. So that'll be different. But yeah, the space launches with like SpaceX at the moment are not super awesome for the environment, and they've not been making it very far. So I don't know. That just makes me sad. I think in Earth it sticks, but not in space. Okay, got a couple of falses, got a couple of yeses. Someone's behind and just just catching up. All right, I don't know which question they're replying to, but I since I haven't given the answer yet, I'm thinking it's a previous one. All right. If you touched two pieces of metal together, they would be stuck. It is a phenomenon known as cold welding. So if you just were like to hold, I don't know, two metal rods together, your job is done. You don't need any other tools because they have cold welded together. So yeah, they are now
I'm
permanently
totally
attached.
going to look that up afterwards because that is super
Cold
cool.
welding.
I had no idea.
Yeah, isn't that super cool? I wonder if they can use it for anything. I'm sure they do. I don't know why, like, I was given this fact if they don't I didn't look into it further, I guess is what I'm saying. Um, it it's true. That's all I know. I did not have time to look for like the practical uses of this fact. All right, so now we're going to move on to the asteroid belt. Some rocks have been in the asteroid belt for almost as long as our solar system. Period. So, what do we think?
I think this one's
What do we
true.
think? Okay.
I think it would
All
make
right.
sense because if, with all the different ways the planets form and all of that, that a lot of the rocks that made up the different planets probably there's still rocks from that like era when all of that was forming. That would make sense
Okay.
to me.
All right. That is an excellent explanation. So we've got a couple of yeses, a couple of nos, split right down the middle again. Anybody else want to jump in? Oh, another true. Okay. All right. Don't know. All right. So here we go. This, like you said, is true. So the asteroid belt, for those of you who don't know, is like a whole bunch of rocks orbiting the sun between Mars and Jupiter. So if I had a picture of the solar system, like the whole thing up on the screen, it would show you where the asteroid belt is specifically. But yeah, some of the rocks have been around since almost the very beginning. For the reasons you explained, Amelia. Exactly. So that that is that. Okay, space is silent. Do we think space is silent? Doesn't make any noise.
I feel like science fiction has told me that it's silent, but I haven't seen any science fact to like say that's true or false. So like, I'm curious to know the answer because you
This
know.
is like our Jurassic Park moment, right?
No, it totally is. I'm like, okay, is it true?
Is this like I've read in fiction?
hmm
All right, we've got, oh my gosh, yes, no, maybe so. I like that. That's a fantastic answer. Okay, maybe, maybe not. Everyone is very conflicted on this, like even in their single answer. Not even just like among different people, but individuals are very conflicted. All right, well, I I won't drag it out. Space is not silent. It actually makes quite a bit of noise, but we don't hear it. The sound can't travel to
Oh.
us. So there are lots of particles that are making noises. The sun, super noisy in general. There's explosions going on the sun all the time. Um, so I just wanted to add that I didn't put it in here for whatever reason, but there's an actual project going on with the right tools. We know that space has its own sound of like crackling, essentially. So space does have sound.
Hmm.
You just have to have like super duper special tools in order to hear it. So there you go. Your science fiction novels were wrong. I mean, I think of space as like this big empty vacuum, you know? You
hmm
scream and like nothing is happening. You have
Yeah.
bubble tears. So, but yeah, it's not actually silent. All right, we're moving on to the sun now. Will the sun eventually turn into a black hole? Eventually turn into a black hole. False. Okay.
I think that this one is one of those that it could, given the right circumstances, but it's not a guarantee. Because I think there's
What in
also a
life
couple
is?
other. Well, I know that it's like it's going to go through phases, right? Right now, it's
Mhm.
like and so it's going to go through phases. But I think other suns have turned into black holes as far as we know, but some of them have gone supernova. Like I think that there is like a couple different things that could happen in the future.
Yes. So the sun, for those who don't know, is a type of star. And so it is going through like star phases. Um, but we think this is mostly honestly think this is true. Okay. True but scary. Well, I am here to make you less scared because the sun is never, ever, ever going to turn into a black hole. It just doesn't have the size. So there are like two paths that a star can take. There is a like red giant and a red supergiant. So there's like two paths. I don't have clearly. I don't have the picture here. But there are two paths that a star can take, and the one that has the possibility, like you were saying before, that has the possibility of turning into a black hole is like the giant one. And so yeah, the sun, it's not happening. just because of its size. So there you go. I'm glad you liked the class. I don't know how many more slides I have to go. I never like keep track, so apologies there. All right, so speaking of stars, they're the ninth biggest star. The name doesn't really matter. Not biggest, brightest. If you were to look up in the sky and like count based on brightest, or you were to ask like an actual professional which one the ninth star was in terms of brightness, is it flat? Is the ninth brightest star in the sky flat as opposed to round? Probably false. Okay.
I'm gonna say false on this one. I've never heard of the star being flat.
How long could you survive on Saturn without protection? Um, it wouldn't end well for you. Let's just leave it that way. I don't think we have the technology today to like survive Saturn. As cool as that would be, I don't think we're gonna be able to like all of us here. It would be so cool. Like, I forget what movies, like some recent movies have talked about going into space and like making colonies there and that would be super cool, but I'm thinking not anytime soon, unfortunately. All right, so we got some falses. I think we're mostly saying false on this one, but a couple of trues. Okay, so the ninth brightest star is indeed flat. So the way that
Really?
it spins, it's like pizza. Like if you were going to like like they do with like throw the dough up in the air. um it's flat like that. So not round, but more like
So
I guess
cool.
what I wrote here is pancake. So, yep, flat. How weird is that? Just because it's been so fast. Yeah. Which stars are the brightest? Oh man, I did not bring that to class. I do not know all of the names of the brightest stars. So, I'm sorry I can't help you out there. All right. So I don't know if you've ever heard of the phrase the dark side of the moon. It gets talked about, I don't know, a decent amount in like astronomy circles. I mean, it's used also in like science fiction,
Hmm.
in movies. I think there's actually isn't there like a movie named The Dark Side of the Moon? I feel like there is. Um, but anyway, the question is there is no dark side of the moon. Our moon specifically. Okay, false. Totally
Well,
true.
I think that this one's tricky because technically I would say that the other side of the moon that is not facing Earth is probably not literally, in the literal sense, dark because oftentimes space is lit pretty well. But I would say that the phrase and the other side of the moon that is not facing us that exists, but it may not literally be dark. So that's my guess.
I like it. Excellent explanation as well. No, not true. All right. There's someone with a lot of conviction that is this is incredibly true. Um, okay. All right. So you are correct, Amelia, for exactly the reason that you said. So we always see the same side of the moon because of our position. But the moon never really does have a dark side. It just looks dark to us. So, yeah, there is no such thing. So, if you ever run across the movie, I really think there's a movie called The Dark Side of the Moon.
Yeah, it's
I don't
somebody
know
just
what
called
it's rated though. It is definitely not a children's movie from what I from what I
no,
remember.
it's they said it's the Transformers Dark Side of the Moon.
Oh, well, what do I know? Okay, but I have heard it.
Hmm.
It does exist. Transformer. Okay. See, I
Yeah,
didn't know
but
that. You're teaching me something.
definitely not a kids film.
Right. Okay. See, there you go. All right. So I don't know if you guys have ever heard of a blue moon. This is real. A blue moon does not look any different than a full moon. So basically, it looks the same as a full moon. There
I think this
is
is true.
okay. Star Wars also has a dark side of the moon. Maybe it was mentioned in Star Wars. That's probably true.
Mm. They
I'm not a
said in
Star
Star
Wars
Wars,
person.
in Star Wars, I think they're referencing is the scene where it's like, "We'll go land on that moon," and they say that's no moon because it's actually a Death Star.
Oh, well, yeah. Definitely not a moon, and from what I remember, all dark. So,
Hmm.
you've heard of a blue moon. Okay. All right. Okay, so we are getting a mix again here. All right. So if you have never heard of a blue moon, there is a saying called once in a blue moon, which essentially means once in a while. And so a blue moon is not blue. Why they chose that name, I do not know. So if you're going to ask me, I'm preempting you. I do not know. But it is basically an extra moon that normally wouldn't happen. So it's an extra moon in a year, kind of like leap year, right? But this doesn't happen as infrequently. This happens more frequently than a leap year, and it happens every 2.5 years. We'll see a blue moon. It's just an extra full moon that we normally wouldn't have. So there you go. And now you can use once in a blue moon, and you know that you are talking about every 2.5 years. So you can use it very, very accurately in the future. All right. So we are moving on to tools in space. So this is, I don't know if everybody's familiar with the Hubble, but the Hubble was the first space telescope. Do we think that is true? It is a space
I think
telescope, by the way.
I think that this one is false. If I remember correctly, and I could totally remember incorrectly because DK space books being and documentaries from when I was a kid being my main source of knowledge, and science fiction. I think that the Hubble was actually replacing the first space telescope,
Okay. All right. So
but maybe it
far,
was the. So by space telescope, are you meaning one that's in space? Is that
yes.
correct? Okay, just to clarify, because I definitely know it wasn't the first telescope that was pointing at space or be able to see
Correct.
like stars and stuff. This is a lot of fun, by the way. I hope everyone else is having as much fun as I am. But like we did dinosaurs and space, and it's like if you do like Egyptians next, that'll be like my entire childhood of obsessions.
Well, yeah. Okay. So while you bring it up and while we're like going through this, if you want to vote on my next topic, I have not picked it yet. So I am all ears for what you would like to hear next. As far as the Hubble, it was not the first space telescope. So there was actually something that was launched quite a bit before it, known as the Orbiting Astronomical Observatory, which, if I said that any faster, it would have come out as gobbledygook. And it was launched in 1968. So the Hubble was not the first. So there you have it. Okay. Next. All right. Another Hubble question. The farthest star the Hubble has observed is Icarus, a blue supergiant formed 9.4 million years ago. Animals for next. I have so much animal knowledge. It's like coming out of my ears. I
Well, that
teach
might
an
be a good
animals
one then.
class. Yeah, I know, but like which animal? I couldn't even narrow it down. I could teach an animal class every month. All right, so the furthest star that the Hubble has ever observed is Icarus, a blue supergiant formed 9.4 million years ago. What do we think?
I think I'm with Aurora on sorry I'm with Lily on this one. I do not know. I did not. I just don't know.
And we're getting some votes for animals. Okay. Any specific animal? Like,
Any
just
specific
kind of curious.
categories?
Yeah, exactly. Like, are we talking zoo animals, grassland animals? I don't know, wetlands? I'm trying to think of which ones I've done. I've done a lot of Arctic animals, but that seems silly to be doing in July. So, cats,
Okay,
okay. I
another
love
person says
big cats.
flowers.
Flowers, okay. I do love big cats, like all of them. So that's a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
Reptiles, I like
Okay, so what's
reptiles last. All right, what is the answer here? So this actually was the Icarus was the record for a long time, but as of just about a year ago, it observed a another blue supergiant, but it formed 12.8 million years ago. So really, really, really old. So there you have it. And I'm not going to try to pronounce it because I have no idea. But Icarus I could do, but not the other one. So yeah, as of just last year, it discovered another one. Just when you thought that the Hubble was up there doing nothing, because the James Webb is also up there now. Yeah, there you have it. It is still discovering things. All right. So I don't know who's familiar with the James Webb, but it went up not all that long ago. I watched it launch and all of that. So that was really exciting. Um, and what do you think? It can detect a penny 24 miles away,
I think
the
this one's
James Webb.
true. I think I heard that that was true. A lot of information that I'm realizing that I collected from like, and I don't remember where from. And so I'm like, I need to verify this information. I need sources. Why don't I have citations?
I know. And I did try to like organize it in such a way that like people could follow
Mm-hmm.
if they're watching this like later or something and want to look up more. All right. We've
It looks
got
like we've got a
some
split again.
a split again. I know. Yeah. I think we've been split mostly the entire class. All right. So the James Webb can, yes, detect a penny 24 miles away. And it can also see a football from around 340 miles away. That's just really impressive to me. I don't know if I should be impressed by that, but it feels impressive to me. So
Yeah.
insects, like the only thing I really would prefer not to talk about. I am not an insect person, so I'm I'm thinking that that's not going to happen. Just so you guys know. So vote on some other animals. All right. So due to its location in space orbiting the sun, the James Webb will always be hot. I love when people are like just catching up. All right. So, due to its location in space, orbiting the sun, and the James Webb is orbiting the sun, um, it will always be hot. Australian
I'm gonna
animals.
say that this one is true.
Okay. So far, we have your true, and we have another one that's not true. And Australian animals are like leading the pack so far. And I don't know. All right, we got a true. Yes. All right. So I think for this one, we actually have Minecraft animals. I don't even know how I would approach that. I know that my daughter creates like ocelots all the time and then feeds them. What does she feed them with? What do the ocelots eat? They're like chickens or something. So she creates a billion ocelots and then has to create a billion chickens to feed them or something along those lines. I don't know. Maybe it's foxes that eat the chickens. I have no idea. Um, but that would be an interesting class. All right. So this answer is false. So this is kind of like the moon question, the dark side of the moon, a little bit. So there's always going to be one side of the James Webb that is facing the sun, and it's hotter than Death Valley. I don't know if you've heard of Death Valley here on Earth, desert on Earth. But the other side is actually going to be really, 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 really cold, twice as cold as Antarctica. So it will not always be hot all the way around. Um, it is ocelots. Okay. I got it right. I'm kind of proud. Okay. So, a real quick, just side note I do not have a slide on this, but the panels on the James Webb, which is huge, by the way, incomprehensibly huge. All of the gold on the James Webb was a single golf ball size amount of gold, and it spread this entire thing. That just amazes me how they were able to make that golf ball size gold fill the outside panels of the James Webb. So, I don't know. That amazes me. All right, are we now I'm wondering if we're saying ocelots in general because ocelots are super cool. Like I said, the wildcats, I am all over. Um, okay, so the Mars rovers, and there are several of them at this point, and this is the last question. So Mars rovers are programmed to take selfies. What do we think?
I think this is definitely true considering, um, everyone found out that the one of the Mars rovers was not going to be able to celebrate its birthday, and so they found all of the scientists found by moving each one of the instruments that the Mars rover has, how to be able to make it sing happy birthday. Not like a programmed song, but by like, okay, if we extend the antenna, it makes this frequency, which
I
is,
did not hear about this. I did
yes,
not hear
so
about this.
they found out that the Mars rover had not that nobody had celebrated the Mars rover's birthday, and it dawned on them, and so they spent bunches of paid time
Well,
getting
yes.
it to sing happy birthday to itself. And I just think that that goes to show you. And once the internet found out about this, of course, everyone was like, "Okay, I'm making cupcakes for the Mars rover. I'm,
How did I miss this?
here's birthday cards." And I think that it is goes to show you the level of compassion that all humans have. That even for a inanimate rover, but they're like, it's in space, it's taking pictures for us, it's exploring. It is an astronaut.
Yeah,
So we're going
it
to
totally is. It
take care
totally
of it.
is. I
So
already
this,
did dinosaurs, by the way, for the
I
person
will
asking
link to
about
that.
dinosaurs.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I will link to
drop a
that.
link to that. You'll love it. Oh my gosh, you will
It
love
was
I
so fun.
It was really, really fun. All right, so the answer to this one is yes, they are programmed to take selfies. The story about the birthday was incredibly sad. I somehow missed that whole episode. But yes, they can take selfies. For some reason, that was super important in the original programming.
Hmm.
So yeah, selfies. There you go.
So I
Um,
want to hear what everyone's favorite space fact that they learned
ooh,
today was. You put it
totally.
in the comments. What was your favorite thing that you learned?
Yes. I know, Lily, birds or reptiles. I am reptiles and insects are I don't know. They're not my thing. I'm sure that there's like one I could find that I would like. But I do have lots of stuff on birds because you know Aurora loves birds. So that is definitely a possibility. And I could do a couple of months in a row of different animals. Animals are always super popular. That's like not something that goes out of style. So
Oh, for sure.
the flat
So
star.
yeah, that
I'm
was really
assuming the
interesting.
butterflies is a vote for the next class. Don't remember talking about butterflies, so
Oh, right. That's too funny.
all right, flat star. What other yeah, drop your favorite fact from today because I'm interested to hear. And then Amelia, you were going to grab the dinosaurs link to the YouTube video, or I guess wherever you want to link it to. I didn't see that
Yeah, I'll
go
go
up.
ahead and send everybody a link to that. I'll reply with that one specifically once they get off here.
Yeah, because that was super good. That was last month, wasn't it? I think.
Mm-hmm.
The
So if you guys like this class, be sure to go to Heather's shop. She has more space resources, and you can get 15% off with coupon code SPACE23. I went ahead and commented with that information. So if you guys don't see it, I'll go ahead and look in the comments. There's a link to more of her space resources. I believe she has a space informative writing um, like bundle. So
yes.
go ahead and check that out.
think I think she linked to it somewhere, but can I comment on this? Actually, I don't think I can.
Yeah, if
Are
you
you
go
a
to the Facebook group, you can
Oh,
comment
I
on
have to go to
there.
the group. I can't do it in, like, StreamYard. Okay. Are you able to drop that link? I sent it to you.
Yes,
Um,
I'm gonna go there and do that.
okay, perfect. 'Cause I'm not able to I am multitasking as much as I possibly can. To the question about the UFO crash in Las Vegas, I did not somehow I missed the birthday party for rovers and any sort of UFO crash in Las Vegas. So I am unaware about that one. All right. Oh, so the first question, so the chicken versus quail question. Okay. That was a fun one. I before I looked that up, honestly, I'd never really thought about space having anything born in it. I don't know. I
Yeah,
was surprised. I mean, I knew like we'd sent animals up there, but their fates were never super awesome. So I didn't know if we were like birthing things there too. So I was pleasantly surprised. Although what happened to these quails, I don't know. And because I do love animals, I didn't look it up. I didn't want to find like their whole life story. So well, that is it on my end. I do not I do not have any
so
other comments or questions.
keep voting on what you want the next video to be about. Heather
Yeah.
would love to hear you guys' comments. Sounds like we're going to be doing something around animals, so keep commenting on what kind of animals you guys would like her to cover. I'm really looking forward to doing another one of these trivias. They're definitely the highlight for me, so I really enjoyed doing this, and thank you again for coming on here and doing this really fun class.
Yes, I always enjoy myself as well, and I hope you guys enjoyed it too. Birds is getting a very, very strong vote. All right, guys, thank you again, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. Bye.
Bye!